Hi guys, here we are, Xande and now basically my first talk in my channel, and it's been a great week here in
Super
Austin,
good.
Texas. And we had an idea to do this little impromptu conversation. So guys, my first little talk, so
Mm.
bear with me, and I have the pleasure to introduce you guys Joe Boardwine, the creator of Destination Jiu-Jitsu. So Joey,
Yeah,
great
man.
to have you, brother.
Dude, it's been an amazing week. Thanks for all the training. You see, I have like some pressure marks from the diamond type pressure. So I got the full experience here at Six Blades. But man, it's been so much fun just getting to know each other more and then like training jujitsu, talking about life. And it's been like really good for my game, but then just been good hanging out too
All right,
as friends.
let's make it a note. The nose like that because he's the one putting pressure. Joey has a wrestling background, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. And interesting enough, he wasn't putting any pressure.
It's true.
So I said, "Hey, head position, little unicorn,
Mm-hmm.
down. Nice and know the bruise is there, but the heart's full of good technique." So we're going to talk a lot about a couple things. But the first one, wrestling. Let's talk about that part, or should we talk about how we talk with each other? Let's just start about our friendship life. So,
Mm-hmm.
how did we get met? I know, I just don't need to tell the story because he came and messaged me.
Yeah, yes. So I had started Destination Jiu-Jitsu, but the point of it really was it was a personal development program. So Jiu-Jitsu is the delivery mechanism and travel, and so I reached out to Tom DeBlas because I like him. I like his Jiu-Jitsu. He's really well connected, and I was explaining to him what I was looking for in someone that was going to headline a retreat, because it was like the person is the most important feature of the retreat, I think, because I feel really protective of my people, and if I'm going to put them in touch with someone, I want this person to be really special. So he said, "Well, what do you want? You want what are you looking for?" And so I said, "Well, I'd love to have someone that teaches amazing jujitsu, who's been a great competitor, who loves to teach, who loves people, who wants to raise up other leaders." And as I'm like saying more and more, he's like, "There's not really that many people that do all those things." He goes, "I know exactly who you need to call." He said,
Thanks, Tom.
"Yeah." So he said, "Call Shanji. That's who you want." And so yeah, as soon as we started talking, I had that feeling. I'm like, this is the right kind of guy. You
Well,
know.
that's great. Tom, we've done a few projects in the same places, and we share a lot of the same things, such as this idea of bringing experience to Jiu-Jitsu. And speaking of Jiu-Jitsu, how did you start Jiu-Jitsu?
Wow, jujitsu. I had just resigned as a college wrestling coach, Division I head wrestling coach. I'd spent like 25 years or so coaching wrestling, roughly 20, 25 years. And honestly, I was a little bit lost overall. I had
Why,
this.
why, why do you think that? Okay, so Joey, you're a college wrestler. Can you go there
Yeah,
and tell a little bit of accolades in there?
yeah. I was a state champ in Ohio as a high school wrestler. Pretty good
Yeah,
wrestling, right?
definitely. I lived in Ohio, so I know that
hmm
is.
I had an older brother that was a state champ, so he whooped me for many years, and that helped
Sam has been my brother.
kind of make
Shout
me,
out
yeah.
Salo.
And then I moved on to college in Division One. Was an MVP for our team at Kent State University. I was a captain multiple times. So that was how I started as a competitor in the sport of wrestling, and then I immediately dove into coaching. At that time, there wasn't really where we lived. There wasn't really MMA, and there was no jiu-jitsu that we knew of. We just saw it on the UFC. We saw the Gracies, but there was nowhere to actually do it. Not in Ohio. So anyway, I went through my whole coaching career, and I had resigned. I had gotten like a normal job. I was doing sales, and I was just going to the gym trying to just like get normal workouts, like lift and go on the treadmill. Dude, it was so empty. I felt lost, like I'd really lost a part of my identity. And I had walked into a jiu-jitsu studio. It was one of Lucas Lepri's black belts, and it really changed my life. Like it was just such a good crew. I really needed that group of people in my life at that time, and that's how I found jujitsu. And the crazy thing about it, and this is kind of deep, so I'm like hesitant to share, but I'll just go ahead and share. like at that age, I hadn't realized it, but I had been stuffing like my feelings my whole life. Okay,
I know exactly what it is.
literally. And through jujitsu, I had to learn to trust my training partners to such an extent that later, like I would start to open up a little bit to them, and vice versa. And it was the first time really in my life I was able to be vulnerable and just say like, hey, I'm not okay. I'm not doing okay, or I'm not doing so well. But I felt comfortable to do that because you're training with someone and they have you, let's say, in an arm bar, and they could break your arm, but they don't. So you develop that trust, that mutual trust. And that was what was so special about jujitsu for me. I loved that about jujitsu. And the other thing I loved about it was there was always a reason for you to go, always a reason for you to train. And wrestling, I love my sport, but once you were no longer maybe going to be the best in the world, or you were not competing every weekend, there wasn't a reason to go. But with jujitsu, the reason was deeper. It was personal development. It was growth. There was always a place for you. And so,
Yeah, that's just how usually I think too. Like in jiu-jitsu, for me, the number one is always personal development. Like I said, what takes you to go to jiu-jitsu, right? And then a guy like you that had a career in wrestling, and then maybe now you have a called normal job, and then have to go back into jiu-jitsu. That first step usually, guys, is very difficult. And now especially coming from wrestling, there's always that part of like, I know it all, or I want to be competitive, but also you mentioned something very special, is the trust. I always say that you pick a jiu-jitsu school not much about the teacher, like the technique, but about it's in a place that you feel home, right? You can trust people, that you
yeah,
can be vulnerable, right?
yeah,
That
yeah,
like in the case of jiu-jitsu, was the vulnerability. Maybe I'm gonna try a guard pass and I fail, and the guy beats me. He's not gonna be like, ah.
yeah.
It's not something that's gonna depreciate you. Sometimes I say like sometimes your ego get hurt, um,
Yeah.
but it's normal, right? We wanna be better. We wanna do good with jiu-jitsu. So that is actually a very personal question. I love Lucas Lepre.
Mm-hmm.
He's the lightweight goat.
Yeah.
Uh, how it is? Like, how was your first? That's a fun question. If you look at this, how it is? Just did you know him? Like, how was that experience? Because a lot of people come to me like, I'm heavyweight, how was coming in with your background, meeting Lucas Lepre? How
Okay.
was him as like a coach and stuff? I know him a little bit as a person and things. How was it?
Man, it was really memorable. I'll say that. And I have to give credit to Tony Caceres, his black belt, who introduced me to Lucas. And the way he did it, um, I had been training, I think, with Tony like 2 weeks. And so we went to Charlotte to the headquarters, and he explained it to me. I didn't really understand what this was, but he said, it's like a camp. It turns out it was Pan Am training camp. So, and in the gi. Right. And so his idea was, first of all, I think you're going to love Lucas. He was explaining to me his background. And I think Lucas will actually like you. He might find it valuable that you've wrestled for a long time. He's competing in the ADCCs. Maybe you can do some, wrestling type rounds with him. I'm like, oh, wow, sounds kind of fun. And I had an interest in doing that because I was no longer coaching college. I'm like, let's go. And I was always curious when I would watch the UFC. As a wrestler, we're very proud of our art, right? And yeah, so I always wondered, like, could you get out of these triangles? Like, does a guillotine work like a double leg? Do you know what I mean? Like, how bad is it? How tight is it? You're wondering that stuff as a wrestler. So when I went to visit Lucas Lepre, a couple things I noticed. Number one, just like a heart of gold kind of guy, great guy. Treated everyone with like so gracious. Actually, man, I don't want to pick on my sport, but there was no like arrogance about him that I sometimes saw in some of my favorite wrestlers. In other words, he treated the new beginner the same way that he treated like a champion. I couldn't tell any difference. So I love that about him. And that dude, his jiu-jitsu was amazing. So I think he arm dragged me. That really bothered me. I hadn't been arm dragged in at least 10 years or 15 years.
That says a lot about a great mindset, right? The attitude is like, well, I'm going to wrestle this guy. I'm going to pull guard. I'm going to try to wrestle him.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I always tell people. Like, if I'm going against you, I'm not going to, of course, I'm going to try at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? even
Yeah.
if we fail. A couple of my wrestlers used to do a bad shot. Here's go front headlock. It hurts so bad.
Yeah.
So now you started jiu-jitsu, and then where was it? In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North
Yeah.
Carolina.
North
So if
Carolina.
you're in North Carolina, go visit Lucas Depri.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So white belt, blue belt, purple
Mm-hmm.
belt. Tell me a little bit, because I think what I think that Joe and I we share a lot is the purpose behind the experience with jiu-jitsu. This is something that I grew up. There was nothing. I could go on here for hours talking about how bad it was.
Mm.
Now, I think now also there is this almost like a calling. I would say there's not even a business. It's not even an opportunity. I think it's a calling of greatness to the jiu-jitsu community to do something together,
Mm.
to have experiences together.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I asked Joe, I say, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people, they come in and they say like, oh yeah, I'll pay all this money and do this and do that. But I'm like, but why are you really doing this? Oh yeah, because it's good money. When you start that conversation, I think it gets very difficult for me to relate to that. And
Mm.
Joe and I, of course,
Mm-hmm.
had a conversation, then over a little beer, and then things get a little deeper. And we never talk about money. Of course, we talk
Yeah.
about opportunity, procedures, business is business. So Joy, when did you? I think like we can do a little relation between like how the
Mm-hmm.
wrestling career of any wrestler would go, where there's maybe a dead end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How your personal development took you to jiu-jitsu, and now you're in jiu-jitsu. Now you feel like, but there's something missing on this. Because guys, tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
creating a business in jiu-jitsu is very difficult. Very difficult to find the right people. So tell
Mm.
us, like, what you told me or tell us right now. Like, what's the why? What was the calling within the realm?
Yeah. That's such a great question, and I think the word you used is the right word, like a calling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just, it helped me so much grow as a person that I wanted to be able to give that opportunity to other people. I really wanted that for people. And I just felt like by creating the right experiences and the right environment and the right people, pairing the right people with the athletes, I felt like I could create something really special that would be like a personal development tool for real, where people's lives would actually get better. They would make great connections with people, make deep friendships. Of course, they would get better at jujitsu, but my dream was that it would be a scalable thing. Like it actually would be something they could do deep into their life, and that's what I was missing in wrestling. And we used to joke about wrestling, and other sports are this way too. That when you're done competing or you're no longer in the fire, you no longer have that weekly challenge. You're kind of like cast out like a Jedi. You're like scattered Jedi throughout the universe. And what's beautiful about jiu-jitsu is there's always a place for you. And I just felt like between travel, which opens up your mind, coming together with other people like yourself, and then being led by people that have that passion for teaching, that passion for raising up leaders. It's just a special thing. And so that was kind of the calling that I felt like came to me. It was the contribution that I wanted to make to to this art, and I felt like I had the right maybe attitude about it, the right
Definitely.
background to do it.
Well, but
Yeah.
also Joe is a musician. Yeah. So guys, we can talk about a little bit my experience with the Destination Jiu-Jitsu. My first camp was Turks and Caicos, an amazing place, Club
Mm,
Med,
let's
all
go.
inclusive. So basically, you just fly in, check in, and you forget about anything.
Mm.
Food, drinks, the people. It's amazing. And then we go there, and Joe has a guitar. Look at the scene, guys. Little California-looking boy in the sunset of Turks and
Yeah.
Caicos with the guitar, playing some music, and that was phenomenal. I usually say that I'm a complete entertainer. When I do my camps and I'm
Yeah,
the
you
one
are.
that cheer people, I'm the one
Yeah.
that raise people, I'm the one that smash people, I'm the one that like, do the consulting, relationship consulting, all that. But Joe, how does the love for music? Because jiu-jitsu is music, right? It's a rhythm, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And how did the music got into your life?
Wow. Well, kind of like wrestling. I have an older brother, my
Okay.
brother Ricky, who was a wrestler first, and also a pretty talented musician.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, when we were coming up, as soon as we were big enough to be able to actually press guitar chords or
Oh, so that's like very, very good.
yeah, mess with piano, he taught us a little bit of both. So no formal lessons, but I have to give him credit. And then I'm old enough to where you don't have the internet. So when you're learning to play, you're just playing the radio. Like you record the radio, you probably
The tape.
yeah, and the tape, and you just play it back, and then you're playing your chord, and you're trying to hear, and you're playing your chords, and you have forever when you're a kid
Oh, wow.
because you got time.
You got time.
So that's how I started playing.
Wow.
And then I left it for a while, and I picked it back up around the same time as jujitsu. So those two are like together for me, kind of in that second life. And it was what you saw was kind of like that's like me just now more comfortable just expressing myself. You know, you're gonna sing in front of a bunch of tough people, so you gotta be comfortable, right?
Yeah, that was beautiful. Like I said, the scene, the scenario, that for me was an amazing experience to get with people. So
Yeah,
we talk about the why, we talk about your passion for music. Now,
yeah,
you guys know when you come to this our campus or our destination, there's a lot of fun. There's great music. So now let's talk a little bit about the challenge to develop destination because sometimes you think like, okay, I'm going to create this, right? Because you're not known, right?
yeah,
That's the reality.
yeah,
We talked a little bit. I think there's a little investment in it.
yeah,
He was very gracious of his time. He sponsored Boardwine, right?
yeah,
That was amazing.
yeah,
Because people are like, what is this? Like, how does that go? So because also you that are watching us, you're gonna learn that sometimes is a passion, a calling, but also there's the hard part.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that can apply. Like I said, we talk about personal development for you guys in our programs with Destination Jiu-Jitsu. It's not just about learning Jiu-Jitsu; it's learning about life. There is the business talk, so it's such a broad perspective, right? Like we can talk about that in a minute, but in our camp, there was like business owners,
Yes, yes.
people that had franchises. There are people that are like jiu-jitsu coaches that they wanted to
Yeah,
learn something
yeah.
about. So we talk about marketing, about branding, about everything, right? And this is one of our projects to make Destination Jiu-Jitsu not just for fun, but also make the personal development a little more in a formal situation, but we leave that for the future. So tell me a little bit how was the start, right?
Uh,
Of course, he had a badass guy there already on the roster.
for sure. Well, that definitely was a huge help because I think the first most important thing was maybe having the the guts. So if you have the vision, but then you have to have the guts to go for it.
Yeah, because we're
You have
talking
to,
about like, especially being a destination, right? Like now you gotta do the hotel, then you gotta do
yes,
people. Next thing you know, three people show up. Now he has Lucas Lepre, he has Tom DeBlas, and he
yeah,
has to pay us, right? So
right.
it's a huge risk. And by the way, my camp was packed. Thank you so much, everyone that came in. Can't wait to see you guys again in October.
For
So here we
sure.
go.
Yeah. So it is a big risk. I think I just believed in it so much, and I knew my intentions were really good. And so I think when you and I talked, and I talked to Tom, and then I talked to Lovato, and I knew Lucas. I actually went to Lucas last because I knew him, which is I did that intentionally because I felt like if I can if I can get someone like Xande to agree like this is a good idea, I want to be a part of this, and we agree on the why, then I know that Lucas is my friend, so it's more likely that I wanted him to see that there's a team of people that are interested before I go to him. So anyway, um, I think having the right people was critical. I have a lot of experience traveling, so I was able to use that experience to figure out how to coordinate the logistics with the island and the hotel and everything we were doing. And then some of it was just risk, like you're putting some money up front, you're creating logos, you're creating a website, you're working like a year and a half out, and you don't know if it's going to pay off. But I think for me, I think you have to do it for its own sake, and was doing it for its own sake. Like even if it's not successful in terms of numbers, I wanted to do it for just like the same reason you would want to win a world championship. You know, of course you hope there's some money that comes, but you want to win it because you want to express yourself and go to the end of your life as a world champion. And for whatever reason, I really felt that calling, and I wanted to give that to people. I'm like, hey, if nothing else, it's going to be a beautiful experience for everybody, and that's my plan. I don't plan to quit. You know, as long as I'm still breathing, we'll be going.
Yeah. In jiu-jitsu, and now like a little bit of my intake in all of this, right? There's a saying about the secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
When your purpose, your intention, you vibrate and you speak out loud your intention in those matches. When you find someone that vibrates in the same frequency, it happens. So we all know, I have 6 blades, I have all of this, right? So I started to do camps. I never done camps in my life, and that was something that was really, I personally, I feel that like doing seminars, it's just a transaction, right? I love seminars. I'm still gonna do them, but it's a lot of transaction. I go there for 2 hours, and I leave, and after a while, for me personally, I always felt there was something missing because I'm a personal person.
Yeah,
and
you are.
I'm curious. More than anything, I'm very curious, right? I'm curious to learn and how people feel. And interesting enough, I start to go like, man, should I create something? Should I? And I like catchy names too.
Mm-hmm.
And and I kept saying, man, I don't want to do seminars. I think like bring experience to people.
Yeah.
I think when people ask me, Xande, why are you gonna be? Why you wanna? How you see yourself in 10 years? Do the same thing in different places. So
Yeah.
if you look at jiu-jitsu, Xande, what are you gonna do in 10 years? I'll be doing jiu-jitsu in Turks and Caicos, October. Xande, what are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna be doing jiu-jitsu in Montana. Xande, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna be doing jiu-jitsu in Mexico with different people.
Yeah.
It seems the same, but it's never the same. And then
Yeah.
fast forward 2 weeks later, again, Tom always thinks about me. I really appreciate him. He kept wanting to fight me a few times. Like,
Oh, really?
what's going on? Maybe I should take on that. And then this show up, and for me, I don't do business with people that I don't relate, right? Because I don't believe that contract is something that will save me from job.
Right.
I think contract is something that will celebrate our great idea, and that's something that I have always thought about.
That's
You know
good.
what I mean? And then that show up, and it's amazing because he likes music, I like music. He's a great coach. I had a great experience here. My wizard, yeah, but the wizard is sick. I learned so much, and I hope he has learned so much.
For sure.
And even when I came for the retreat, I was as a guest to Lovato, and I just say, hey, because I told him, I said, look, I love crazy ideas. That's the first thing I said.
That's exactly what you said.
I love crazy ideas. I don't care if it works. If it doesn't work, we make it work.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just told him like, hey, I'll go. I'll help Lovato. I just want to be with Lovato the thing. And I was going just as a guest. I was literally just being an attendee. And I ended up teaching, of course. And Joe was very, say, hey man, this is how much money we made. This is for you. And I think that's the important part because we're in this together to grow together. And the same thing with the 6 blade schools. As long as you put the work on, we all eat in the same table. If you put the work, put the effort, didn't work, you still working on the table. You're still eating on the table because you put effort, right? For me, a lot of things for me is not just about if something go right or wrong, but for me is the willingness to make it right. It's like, man, you put in so much effort, you know what I mean? And some people just want to sit at the table and eat. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that was very special, Joe.
It was.
That we connected that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were the first one to wake up. Well, maybe not me. He was, but the last one to go to bed. Just going a little forward, and I know he has some questions for me, and I'll leave that.
Yeah.
So DestinationJJ.com. That's how you find all the information. We have the next one in Mexico with Buchecha and Kendo.
March 15th to the 20th.
And then we have another one in Boardwine, Montana, the Big Sky with Tanquinho.
Tanquinho, and his black belt, Tim Welch. Those guys are like homies for a long time. They work together, and they're coaching Sean O'Malley and
Oh, wow.
other people together.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Well,
yeah.
I John O'Malley, Montana. So Montana is an amazing place. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little ranch. You don't leave. Nature all over. We can talk about that. Go to
Mm-hmm.
purocon.com, and then you can find my event there too.
Mm.
And then Minor
Turks.
Lovatos again, Turks and Caicos in October. There's two camps back to back.
That's right.
Just go Destination JJ, all the information there. Club Med, all inclusive. Like I said, and the food is amazing.
It
Because
is actually
usually
really good.
Club Med, I was very impressed by that because
Yeah.
usually, man, you go to those places, the food,
Mm-hmm.
but man,
Yeah,
they
it's
had
good.
amazing
It's
food,
real.
and the crew was amazing.
Yeah.
I was wrestling this freaking white belt, and I was white belt, so wrestler, high school, badass, kick my ass.
Yeah, he just messaged me. I said, "You better be coming back." He said,
Oh
"I
yeah,
think he's
but
coming."
this time I'm gonna beat his ass in wrestling.
Yeah.
So guys, Destination JJ, like I said, amazing experience for me personally, and hopefully we can do that for the rest of our lives. Shanji, what are you gonna do
Exactly.
in 20 years? Which destination am I looking for? So if you're still
That's
here with
right.
us today,
That's
right
right.
now, put in the comments. Where do you want the next destination to be? If you dream
Yes.
it, we can make it happen.
That's right. I would actually love to know that about people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's cool because every year you wonder, who am I going to meet? How's it going to be different this time? And I think, traveling like that, some people will
You
come
only
to,
get richer.
yeah, that's a good point. And that was something I wanted to ask you was, some of my friends are just now starting to travel or they're kind of wondering, should I make that type of investment? Well, you have a unique perspective because you've been traveling a long time, since you're a young man. Like, if you were to tell somebody, what's the value of traveling? What would be the value of traveling? I've never really traveled. What would you tell a person? How it
It's
changes you?
it's how make you feel.
Mm.
It's definitely how make you feel because let's imagine like 500 years ago, you have to go into a boat and maybe die and never see the world. I think the
Right.
world, the humans, the places, the architecture, the food, I don't know, but there's everything about humans that I love about.
Wow.
And I think traveling is that, like even gives goosebumps when I talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like when you meet a random person that you would never meet in a whole entire existence, in like three existence, and you get to see to that person and share a heartful moment in a different language. Someone that like has never even like maybe I'm like let's say let's say Turks for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
We sit there and I'm talking to this guy and then he brings his wife and I'm talking and she's like, oh my god, I never thought about it. So it brings you different perspectives in life. And I think us as humans we need to always be looking for the curiosity to connection. You know what I mean? Like right
Mm-hmm.
now him and I here and of course my spiritual belief and my energetic, like we're connected here to you guys. You know what I mean? All this love that I have put in jiu-jitsu, he has put in wrestling, in his music. It's for you guys to be there and be inspired by that too. And traveling, like I said, is the only thing we spend money and get richer.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, like I said, I'm in Korea, and also you can say that maybe I'm a little spoiled because I go there as a teacher, but I don't go there to make money. I go there to make the people feel powerful. Because this is what we need. We need powerful people. We need powerful people that have strong hearts, strong families, and they can win in life. Yeah, many times, as you know how I am, I drink my wine, I drink my this, I know I'm talking to someone, and we have the coolest, most
Yeah.
amazing conversation. Man, I was counting, I've been like in 41
Wow.
countries. It doesn't matter the religion. And the thing about Jiu-Jitsu, our cult, it doesn't matter if you Jewish, Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
Christian, evangelic, atheist. It doesn't matter what language you speak,
Mm.
but the language of jiu-jitsu is the truth. It's about
Mm.
love because you put the gi on, the only thing you can feel is their heartbeat, and that's all that matters in the end. So for me,
Mm.
like I say, and I'm an adventurous. You know what I mean? Every time I go somewhere, I pack everything. I make sure I have my gi and my passport,
Mm-hmm.
and now the phone, right? Because you can pay stuff with the phone today.
Right.
So that's all I care. And the
Mm.
rest, man, it's about feel because I feel different. I feel that I'm worthy. I feel that I can add to someone. You know what I mean? At the same time, they're adding to my life so well. You know what I mean? And of course, it,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
never hurts that now we make a student, we make someone that's gonna buy a product because they see value on the things that you offer, also as an educator. So for me, it's just everything. It's tiring. It's
Mm-hmm.
very tiring. I don't think it's easy. Like I was in Europe, flew here, straight to teach, straight to coach, straight to little business, flew to Maui,
Busy.
amazing place, but still teaching and waking up early, and then fly here straight to a week of training this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm competing this weekend. So it's a lot. But when I think about the way people feel and the way I feel, it's priceless. And definitely, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be doing jiu-jitsu at 80 years old. Anywhere in the world that you want me, I'll be there.
That's amazing, man. That's such a good perspective, right? With Destination Jiu-Jitsu, what we were talking about kind of is like the full completion of my initial vision, which was really for it to be like a mastermind. So you go there and you share jiu-jitsu, but the other things that develop too, like you're sharing like business ideas, ideas on how to be a better husband, you know, all health ideas, things that are going to make you a better human being and enjoy life more. But the thing about travel, and I know because I didn't do it much up until like deeper into my life, dude, I think it changes your perspective in a way that you can't accomplish in very many ways. And with that new perspective, when you go back home, there could be problems that you're having trouble solving,
Exactly.
problems in your relationships, problems in your business. And now all of a sudden, because of a new perspective, you can see an answer. And so that's how I think it pays you back. Like you said, you become richer. And I think that's true. And I never really understood that. So I'm glad you shared that like that for people that are a little on the fence, that aren't sure if is it worth my time and money to go and travel to a place. But I think that's how you get richer.
Well, especially like in my case, of course, you're going there. Some people even go don't know who I am, which is I think this is amazing. But also, like
Yeah.
you sit on the mats, like when you go there as a student, you don't know that person has no has no filter on you. They just see for who you are.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And maybe you make friends for life. Like I said, I've been doing, I've been traveling. We have Rapid Escapes, Budokan. You know what I mean? People don't never would met each other. The amazing thing about Jiu-Jitsu, if you put like 50 Jiu-Jitsu people in a room, a normal person or an outsider be like, who are these people? Because they're not the same at all.
yeah.
And
Were you just saying that? We were at the restaurant, everyone's hugging,
yeah,
and like, hey, how you doing? It was just like so much love. And you
yeah,
were saying people walking by don't know what's
don't know
happening.
what's happening because we're hugging, we're laughing, and like it's a blonde,
Right.
a bald guy, an older guy, a big guy, an NFL guy,
Yeah.
a black, a
Right.
white, an Asian. Like still nine nations of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is
Yeah.
like I'm gonna quote my longtime friend, God have him, Steve Carter. Jiu-jitsu is the truth. And if you really embrace that, guys, it's special. And coming outside of your bubble, and then we can even make a comparison, like you said, with like on the outside is when you train,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Lucas Lepre, he tried to arm drag you. You gotta go outside of the bubble. My students, I encourage them, hey, go train with that person. Of course, I drive them to the right person, right? Because that's my job as an educator and as a protector.
Mm.
Hey, if you're gonna go to that place, you go see that guy because I know you're gonna learn. It could be an alliance guy, it could be a Gracie Barra guy. I don't care.
Mm.
As long as they're learning, because I want them to bring also perspective that I might not have as a coach. You know what I mean? I might not. Oh, there's some details like giving you like, oh, the way you word it makes more sense for me now. Like he was teaching something that I always tell my guys. I've used this word the whole week. You know what I mean? Which makes total sense for me. So there's always an opportunity to understanding. And the same thing you were talking about earlier about there's always something in a jiu-jitsu class.
Yes. Yeah.
People have this concept of like every day has to be something new. Oh, I didn't learn anything. You learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't learn something, it's because your brain is like this. Your
Yeah. Close.
mindset is so close.
Yeah.
There's always an energy. There's always a setup. There's always the fun time to be with your friends.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I think that's the best thing about Jiu-Jitsu. And that's why, for me personally, I think Jiu-Jitsu is amazing. I'm really happy, Joey, that you really sparked that for you. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Yeah.
it gives you, Joe is a young guy, I'm gonna go to ages here, and it gives you like a second wind in life.
I really felt that way. I really felt like it was like a rebirth, and like it helped me become who I was already, but I was able to become more vulnerable and like share more and grow in that way. And then athletically, I will say this is a plug for jiu-jitsu because I was pretty broken when I started from all the years of wrestling. I started wrestling when I was 5 years old. So I had a lot of different types of injuries, and you would think that it would just keep getting worse. But through jiu-jitsu, I was able to, I think, actually have like a second rebirth athletically. There's still certain things I cannot do, but because like hanging out with you, learning like movements and things that you got from Budokan, like it just challenges me, opens up my mind, and so it's helped me to grow in that way big time. Have it kind of like a second, career as an athlete, and that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is there's always something you can be doing to grow, but then there's also the connection with other people. Super special, man. And I think it makes me think like as we get older, like I've been competing some, and then I know you took a break, so we talked about it a little bit when we were in Turks, because I knew you were going to come back and do the Euros. So maybe share with these guys like what was it that started knocking on the door and making you feel like, well, maybe I should go do some competitions.
You said something earlier about being part of who you are. I don't think competition is part of who I am, but I think really um, having the goal and the drive, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of reasons, right? I would say one reason that I did some blood test wasn't that great, so I had to look into my health a lot. I've always been super healthy, but that was something, like levels that you don't understand. So that was one reason, and as a result, I became a runner. So now I do a lot of cardio. Also, it helped me to understand certain things, but a lot of things for me too. It's because jiu-jitsu. I think jiu-jitsu, like I said, it's a calling. I think jiu-jitsu still needs me, and I'm still healthy enough to be on the mats with people my age, even younger. I have a couple projects to fight the professionals. I don't think I will do a professional event such like World Championship. I don't think I have health for that, but I think I can stand a match. So I think like there's a lot of misunderstanding in jiu-jitsu about the true vision of martial arts, and I think that was a calling for me in the end. And I feel much sharper. I feel much younger. I can train my
Look good.
guys, and I think my
Yeah.
guys also they're saying like, "Hey man, I see you competing."
Mm.
And like I said, I did one competition. I can see my whole organization just like having a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up better. I go to bed earlier. It just gives me a little edge on that sense, because I think if I'll be like, oh, I'm retired, I'll be like eating my chocolate,
Yeah.
drinking my wine,
Yeah.
and then a week go by and I don't grapple with Laranjinha and this guy because I feel that I'm broken. So
Mm.
like I said, it's giving me a second wind to realize things that I still would like to accomplish as a voice in jiu-jitsu.
It's cool.
I think there's a lot of things that I've been doing for likes and clicks that I think are a joke. I think it became a big circus, and I think it's important, at least for me, to inspire my kids. And that's what I felt. I feel that those kids, in jiu-jitsu, they're losing. The, I think that the big names, they're so worried about their own journey. In a way, they're forgetting that there's something beyond that. I think these are the things that really took me back. So of course, it feels good to be in shape. Feels good to lose weight. Feels good to be able to walk in here in the morning, look at Victor Hugo and Laranjinha and say, "Let's go."
Mm.
You know what I mean? It also feels good to run 5K in 28 minutes. Yeah, man, it's been really good.
That's
Like
good.
a couple ups and downs. European was a big challenge
Yeah.
for me emotionally, for friends with death, disease, surgery, delicate surgery. So for me, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It just proves the point that there's always something that we can work within ourselves in our jiu-jitsu. I found out that I need to not learn, but like practice my guard pull. That I need to like look outside the box into different techniques, relearn what also
Yeah.
tune my training because, for example, right now I'm changing even my training. I'm doing more cardio things
Yeah.
versus loaded and physical stuff. So like for me as a coach, it's got to be better with it because I'm learning and I'm sharper. And as a businessman, also I'm sharper because I'm healthier. I can think better. I can think clear. And yeah, like I said, we spent the whole week here, and I just looking forward to just keep going. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and yeah, I'll be a 7-year-old healthy person hopefully.
Still going, man.
Still going.
Based on what I felt this week, I think you still feel like you're definitely formidable. Would be the word. You're moving. You feel amazing. And
Yeah, because like people talk about like longevity. I think balance is the key for longevity. Definitely having a skill is useful.
yeah,
Be mobile, and be around people that are not there to just do what it takes to beat you. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yeah.
also important. And for me, sometimes when I grapple people that maybe I don't know, maybe they're here, I don't care if they go home and say, "Oh, I did well with Xande."
yeah,
I'm going home in one piece, and for me,
right.
that's all that matters.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up. It's I think cool for people to hear that. I can remember I shifted my mindset like as a white belt at a certain point, kind of by because I had to. When I was at like let's say Pan Am training camp with just a few weeks experience, I'm in a gi, I'm a white belt, I'm small, relative to everyone else, physically small, and you don't have the experience, so you're not going to just be able to win. So at a certain point, you have to just try to learn, just try to survive, just try to. So for the first time in my life, instead of trying to just win, like with jujitsu, I would think, all right, what I want to come back tomorrow. So the goal is just to come back tomorrow and do it. Then it's like let's come back tomorrow a little better, a little. I've learned a little something, and I think that that's a good perspective. Kind of, it switched up my perspective even professionally, where now I want to be like a Willie Nelson. Okay, maybe not that exact style of music, but still playing at 91.
Yeah.
Why is he playing at 91? Because that's what he does.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do what I do, what I feel like I'm called to do or shaped to do, as long as I'm here. And that's totally different. When I was younger, I was like, I'm going to work and I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to start to, I don't know, live. I'm like, now I think totally differently, man. It's like, let's just keep doing what we're called to do as long as we're here on this earth. And that's kind of what I see with you. It's kind of what you described to me in Turks here. Like, it's kind of part of who I am. It keeps me sharp. It helps me, be a better leader. And it's just good for me.
It also feels really good to choke some people.
For sure.
So guys, it's been amazing. 40 minutes. Thank you to stay
Yeah.
here with us. Like I said, it's my first opportunity having a little informal, formal conversation on our channel.
It's good.
Come in, DestinationJJ.com. I'm gonna put all the information in the comments, on the description. And Joy, one last message for our guys.
Oh man, well thanks Xande for having me here and for training with me. And guys, if you get a chance to come to Turks, you gotta come. Come when he's there, October 8th to the 13th. I promise you, like, it's awesome. And you will leave, like, it's going to be so much fun. And you'll leave better jiu-jitsu and you'll leave with a lot of friends.
Yeah, just a little comment. It's adults only.
Yeah.
Right? It's a Club Med. Amazing facility. And we'll see you there, brother.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you.